So, yeah. Why have nobody called me about the NBA playoff games? I said for game five, OKC by 10, they won by 11. Somebody give me a call. You guys could find me, DM me. I've only been wrong for a few games. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to be Barry Horowitz and get a little bit of validation.
Wow, an old jobber reference. Wow.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's get to the formalities. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on the Raptors Freak. And to the point, you can find us Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Thanks, Arturus. I hate that app. YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching us. Click subscribe, click like, and we are here with. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my man.
Good evening. My name is Lex. I'm the lyrical Leviathan, aka Raptors Freak.
Yes, the Raptors Freak. Every morning at 9:30. I don't know how you're staying up to do it for the people, but you guys make sure you go check that out. Hey, Lex, my man, you good? I know it's
Yeah,
late.
man.
We
I'm
tired.
gonna react to this game 5 of the NBA Finals 2025, Oklahoma City and Indiana Pacers.
Yep. Well, let's get into it. So let me ask you the first question, my man. What's your well, this is kind of our formula now for the finals, but what's your overview overall for the game tonight that you witnessed?
I once again we predicted that Oklahoma City would probably win this game because the home advantage, and that did matter. There was a lot of confusion. The Pacers were having real problems with different things, and because the game was pretty even in a lot of ways on the down low.
Yep.
But obviously, a certain player had a really bad game tonight on one side, and their absence really hurt the power of the Indiana Pacers. And it is too bad because like these are the kind of moments where you don't want to live your life thinking I'm in the moment and I needed to step up, and you don't want to have regrets. And that's the thing I would say to Tyrese Haliburton right now, man. It's like you need to wake up and understand you're going back to game 6 and you are about to let a championship opportunity slip through your hands if you don't show up and do something. I understand you may be hurt, but there's a lot of people in this series right now that are hurt also. And they're out there playing like this and doing that and stuff like that. But this is the thing. This is why I always said Haliburton is not a true franchise player, is because he's a streak shooter. And he is like a player that you cannot depend on night in, night out. And if you're going to be a franchise player, you're the guy who shows up and gets 20 in his numbers every single dang night.
Yeah, he
And
only shows
this
up when
is
there's 3 seconds left.
well, I mean, I know he's hurt, and this is a horrible situation for them at this point. And also the emergence of Jalen Williams coming up tonight and just absolutely
I want
dominating
to
the
get into
game
that.
with 40 points.
I
He
want to get into
he
that too.
really he impressed me tonight because honestly, I was kind of sheepish on him getting All Star this year, and I was like, well, but now I understand why he got it, and he does deserve it. And the kid's amazing. In some ways, there's some of the stuff he did tonight was really high level, high skill,
Well,
and
well, well,
he super impressed
Lex,
me. It really was his coming out night for the
Lex.
world.
Let's get
So
into that after, but just uh, based on what you saw on the court between the two teams, what were your thoughts on that? Like Indiana coming out with and cutting down the lead at some points.
yeah,
OKC coming out running and gunning, right, with the two bigs. I love Frankenstein. I like that guy. But um, what were your thoughts on the game? Because I want to say something on this.
sure. In the first quarter, the Pacers did not start well. The energy in the building was really high for the front Thunder fans. It seemed like the Thunder fans got the memo and came more correct for this game than the first two games in Oklahoma City. And I thought that the shirts was cool, the little differences and stuff like that. If we could steal
Yeah,
that
the blue and
Raptors at
white,
some
that
point,
was
that would be
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, the Pacers hung around. They were really not playing well at all for a long, long time. And then, like, I think Rick Carlisle did a really good job at halftime getting them to come back in the third period to be re-centered to Pacers basketball. And we saw some really, really solid possessions immediately after the half
Yep.
started with
Yep.
extra passes
Yep.
and really getting good open looks. And I felt like the more they could have tried to play in that style, the better chance they had. But honestly, to their credit, they stayed in striking distance and made it really dangerous. But the problem is, the guy who really does the really super heavy lifting at the end in the clutch is not even started up his engine for the whole entire night.
No
And it's
show.
like, you need him right at the end with the exclamation point at the very end. And Haliburton was just MIA. MIA. And I mean, I don't know, like, he's an athlete at a high level and, he's hurt. And Rick Carlisle's got to make tough decisions. TJ McConnell came in the middle of the game and was amazing in his part in there. And of course, our guy Siakam was breathtaking at a lot of times. And I was going to say, if the Pacers somehow, some way pull out this game, it's obvious who the most valuable player on the Pacers is for sure. You know
Not
what
a
I'm
doubt.
saying?
See,
Yeah.
my overview from this game was I've said it before and I'll say it again. Okay? You guys check the archives. Okay? Um this game I noticed a lot more 3-point attempts, right? I noticed the hustle, which has been very, very consistent throughout these games, right? In order to chase down loose balls, in order to get turnovers, in order to make steals. I noticed that was really amazing. And this is actually really great to watch. I know viewership overall, internationally and nationally, has gone down. Well, I'm sorry, but LaBarbie is not there, and you know what? My guy Steph, he ain't there. KD ain't there. You know these big names, but I'm seeing fresh faces. Other than like a couple that we've known from before. You know the Pascal, right? Spicy P, our guy, which we will own that too, and he better get his jersey retired here. Um, we see Rick Carlisle with the Mavericks coaching them. We seen Caruso in the Mickey Mouse bubble when he was Elmer Fudd. Um, we've seen these familiar faces, but there's so many new faces that are trying to make a name for themselves, and I'm loving it. Honestly, this is rejuvenating. It's refreshing to see
Yep.
this within the NBA. And
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, Lex has a segment anytime the Raptors play on his show, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you go check it out. If you don't, I got a problem with you. But with the top three players, right?
Yeah.
But I want to flip the script on you
Okay.
because I know you always go for the top three best players. Who's the top three worst players
Oh,
this game
geez.
5?
All right. Well, I'll do this, and then I
Number
want to do the
one.
top three bus. Well, obviously Halliburton was the worst player tonight,
Here we go.
and it's too bad. I mean, I feel bad for the guy, honestly. I also have to say that our guy from Aurora had a tough night tonight, and
Oh
it
yeah.
wasn't really his fault. In some ways, like, look, this is the thing. The game the other night with Mathurin at the end of the game, that when they lost that game, we have to remember, like, the Thunder are a very young team, but there's also young players on the Pacers, and there's going to be an experience level thing that happens.
Mhm.
And there were a couple of really half-ass passes by Andrew Nebhard tonight
Yep.
that were
Yep.
picked off turnovers and transition that were tough. They were very, very tough. He probably wishes he could have him back. Now, Andrew's done amazing on SGA. And one of the things that has helped the Thunder is the switching. They finally figured out how to get him shedded off of Gilgeous Alexander. And that you've seen a SGA bombing shots over TJ McConnell and beating Aaron Nesmith and stuff like that. But that was a key adjustment, is help the OKC Thunder take dominance in this series, is that, And then the emergence of what Jalen Williams did tonight, as far as
Oh
he was
no,
just
we're not getting into the best player of the game because
oh well, I don't have any
clearly
other worse
Jalen
players.
Williams.
I'll only say Haliburton,
Clearly.
and I feel like Nebhard had a tough night in some ways. And I don't know. There's nobody else that really comes to mind that I would say there's like one of the worst players in the game.
Well, I saw from the best players. I agree with you 100%. So I'm not going to
Jay
reiterate
Will for sure.
right? But Jay Will definitely.
Yeah.
I saw something in Caruso as well. For some reason, Elmer Fudd.
Not tonight. Like it wasn't really Caruso.
He did come through.
It was
right?
more Wiggins. Wiggins had big threes again,
Wiggins.
but the really big star, and obviously SGA was key at times too. But
Pascal.
the really big star was Lou Dort. Lou Dort had shot like 4 for 5 from 3, and he was absolutely annoying and disruptive. And that was Pascal? A big part of the game. The difference in the game was really the turnovers. You had 23 turnovers for the Pacers and like half that for OKC. And that's just the Dortcher chamber. That's Cason Wallace. That's Caruso. That's just the defense in that environment of the OKC fans just really messed up the Pacers offense for huge sections of the game and really messed them up. And I give a lot of credit to Lou Dort for this game tonight. He was been dirty during this series, but he's been very physical, and he has been very, very smart in helping them to get an edge and physically and winning, especially on defense. Holy crap. So Dort, I got to give Dort one of the 3 stars, man. So I would say it's Jay Will, SGA, and Lou Dort tonight, man. Those are the 3 top stars. An honorable mention to Aaron Wiggins.
Wiggins was balling out tonight, man. I was surprised to hear his name. It was absolutely
when he
great.
scores, they win. That's the thing. That's a pattern I noticed this year, like with them. When Aaron Wiggins has a big game, Oklahoma City Thunder is usually winning.
Well, let me ask you this one now. Now that we're here, we covered the game, we covered the players. What do you see coming from Game 6, bro?
Well, this is a pressure game. What do you see
from each of these players that have done what they've had to do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like they said at the end of the broadcast, the health of Haliburton's leg is going to be really, really important. I mean, they're going to need him because honestly, like, it's really tough. This team in Oklahoma City is so talented, and they kind of figured out some powerful things on how to beat the Pacers. The Pacers have to try and play their game as much as they can and not let the tempo of the game be dictated by the Thunder to get them out of the place where they're not playing off each other. Because that's the thing. The Thunder have been so disruptive with their defense. They have not been able to pass the ball around for big chunks of the game. And the Pacers absolutely have to move the ball to be their best. Siakam's been amazing, though. I'm so proud of him, man. He's just solid in the really tough times. He's still going out there and doing stuff. He's just not that kind of player that's going to take over in the last 5 minutes and carry you to the end. And, Haliburton is that guy to a degree, but he, like I said, he's just AWOL. He's gone.
He's supposed to be that guy.
Yeah.
What I will say is for the next game, if Indiana comes out running and gunning and taking a nice early lead in the first quarter, they can definitely make it back up in the fourth if they go down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My personal choice, my bet is that Indiana will take the next game in their home.
I agree. I think that's probably because they're going to want 7 games because this has been an amazing series. I've really enjoyed watching this series. And, that's the shame of what you said earlier about, like, you say viewership is down. Well, that's ridiculous because, honestly, this is some of the most entertaining basketball in some ways
that we've seen in years.
This is the thing. This is the thing. There's been complaints in other sports with the Super Bowl being too much run-up scores, uneven game. You get sick because you're like the Super Bowl was the commercials were great, but the game sucked because it was like 50-6 or something like that.
And I don't want to see Taylor Swift.
So many series in the NBA Finals, like last year with Dallas and Boston, that was a mismatch. This year has been a great match, and we've seen some really, really like intrigue and like not knowing what's going to happen. And it's like that is what you want to watch as a fan. If you think you know what's going to happen, it gets boring, and why would you watch? In
Unless you're
this
me. I
Indiana
know
being
it's
such a
not.
wild card as that kind of team that can sometimes, well, can we see if they can do it?
Yeah.
That's made this more interesting because there's
Yeah,
a
and it's
realistic threat. And that you saw it, like the Pacers could have been that coiled snake just about to jump and take the game at the end because they've done it this playoff season.
yeah, they had me
They've
on the
done
edge of
it.
my
They
seat,
seal the game at the
literally.
end. Yeah.
Literally.
So it's like the intrigue is there to watch, and I don't understand why people would want to watch that. That's what basketball is all about. It's a team sport, and if you want to get into TMZ, NBA stuff, because ESPN rotted your brain into how they do their content, you go ahead. I'll go ahead and stay in the John Wooden stuff with the X's and O's and enjoying basketball because it's basketball. You go ahead and have your little Access Hollywood life with NBA. All right, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Don't get me started on Kendrick Perkins with the ESPN shit. But so Lex, so next game you got Indiana.
Yeah. I think that this is a thing where we're going to see the experience of Carlisle. We're going to see Haliburton have a soul searching in the next few days,
Hopefully,
and we'll have to see. This will test his mettle. This is actually a really big, important game for Tyrese Haliburton's career.
yes.
In the next game, whether he's hurt or not,
Yeah.
because in some ways he's writing his story. In some ways, and do the Indiana Pacers want to be the Buffalo Bills of the NBA? You know what I'm saying? Like
Where's
that's
Jim
what I'm
Kelly?
saying. You
Is
don't
he
want to
gonna
be
play?
that. Well, I'm just saying, you don't want to be the team that gets to the finals sometimes, and you just don't get past the finals. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say that because I know there's a lot of Buffalo fans around Toronto, but I remember those years, man. So
I mean, Minnesota Vikings all day.
see,
Anyway,
from my old territory, I'm a
digress.
Bucks fan. Tampa Bay, all right, let's go. Or maybe the Jaguars. All right, let's go Jaguars.
Whatever's in Florida for you, bud. But so Lex, before we get out of here,
Yeah.
it's really late, ladies and gentlemen, and we're up here just for you guys. Okay. And both of us are about to fall asleep on camera.
It's true.
Right? So Lex, say something for the people out there, whatever the hell you want. Go for it.
Well, I'll say once again, I do agree with Brian that I think that Indiana will probably pull it off somehow, some way at home. Even I would love to see Siakam be the key person that takes over and does it in some ways and really helps them do that. But in some ways, I'm also worried about Oklahoma City busting the game open because they've understood some couple things that are like that Pacers can't deal with at this point. So we'll have to see. But anyways, these collaborations have been fantastic. The reactions, and tomorrow morning we're going to be doing Raptor Freak Trivia Tuesday morning on the 18th.
And you guys make sure you check that out. 9:30 Eastern every morning.
We're doing
YouTube.
trivia in the morning. I wrote a bunch of questions today, and they're hard. I'm going to say this right now. We're near the end of our championship and our trivia season. That's the trophy behind me in the corner. You can't see it right now. And there's going to be a trivia champion crowned on our channel soon. And yeah, it's the culmination of the whole entire year, man. It's like, but it's playoff trivia. It's really, really tough trivia. If you want to try it, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Lex, I'm proud of you for everything you've done on your show, on your channel.
I appreciate it.
I love it, man. Anytime I can wake up early enough to support it, I'm there. Even if it's at the end. By the way, I missed today's one. When I went to sign in, it said stream 2 minutes ago. I was like, shit, I missed it.
That happens.
I pulled a Cartman. God damn it.
It happens, It happens. It's
Yeah,
all good.
but you know what? You guys out there should be on there, okay? Because we're out here for you. Shout out to my man, Lex. Lex, all I got to say before we get out of here, man, I appreciate the collaboration. It's great to cover basketball with somebody that knows basketball and somebody
I appreciate that.
from the States, right? So they can provide a different point of view. And to be part of the Raptors Freak Nation. Well, I call them Freak Nation, the Raptors Freak crew, right? And just to be out here for you guys, to the point, right? So Lex, I'll sign us out. On behalf of myself, the lyrical Leviathan, the one and only Lex, the Raptors Freak, and the To The Point family, if you're watching, I consider you to the point family. Okay, I'm part of the Freak Nation too. I don't care what you say. And to the greatest producer of all time, Arturus.
Tyrese, thank you.
Right? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and peace.